is another Tango taster, and this one we're going to be looking at how the splash or home screen works in a little bit more detail. That'll involve bringing some stuff in, playing around, moving it and so forth. So what you can see here is my screen, and I have on that screen a couple of categories straight away, which says new category and demo content. What I can do, if I'm pressing on the new category button, effectively what it's going to do is ask me to create a new category name. I'm going to put test in. And you can see when I do that, it's going to arrive with its own category here. Underneath that, it's going to ask me to put a subcategory in, which if I press that as well, and again, write test sub, it's going to add it as second category. Doing all this is effectively a way of preparing yourself to put lessons into order in advance of making them, which isn't always exactly how I do it. Normally, I'd suggest people are going to be using this one down here to create a new workspace in itself. So let's say you've got a few sessions that you've been playing with, you've saved in different places, and you want to try and sort of put into an order that makes sense to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold in the background to start with and select import lessons from the top. By doing that, in this case I'm going to use my USB because let's presume we've gone through to different classes content and we want to share and swap resources as we go. So I'm going to go to the Bayou, and in the Bayou I've got some pages set up with resources. Now I could bring all those resources across via USB and put it onto the computer and then do all the session live, but let's say in this instance I don't want to do that. I instead just want to bring in the session itself. So I'm going to click on the Bio lesson itself and select import. When it imports through, it's going to bring it through under whatever banner it was initially created under. So when I made the Bayou session, I made it as an uncategorized lesson. So here it said, okay, well it's still uncategorized. But I don't want to call it that. I want to put it into its own named category. So if I tap on it, it's going to bring it through and there's my session. But I want to make a new, and I'm going to call it, I'll call it science. Let's say it's my science lessons. Within science, I want a subcategory. And it's going to be looking at biology. Because the biology bit is in effect where I want to send my session to. So, uncategorized lesson, select it, press and hold on the bio session and move. When I move it, I'm going to go to science, biology. And now it's dropped that session into there. From here, I can then open up my session as normal and be able to access, play with it as manipulatable as it would have been when the first person had created it. Alternatively, you might have wanted to save some stuff under TTX file auspices. You want to have made them as a whole category. So if I'd have wanted to bring the entire category in, like before, I press and hold and then go to import. I go to the place it's from and then I can import the entire section. That may take a little while depending on how many you've got in there. I'm not going to try it with this one because that's actually got about 15 separate sessions in there. So what I can also do from here is save to different places. So if I go to one of my main content sessions, let's say, and I've got a film studies lesson, from here if I press and hold, not only can I do things like move, rename, I can duplicate the file. So if I had like a master copy what I want to have in Tango and then work from a separate one, duplicate will cause another session to appear under that subcategory as a film studies lesson 2. In this case though, I want to export the whole thing as PDF. I like this probably most of all because by doing that, it's going to say, all right, everything that was in that lesson and that you made, played with, responded to, and so on, is now going to be packaged up and dropped onto the desktop. Now, by doing that, you effectively got proof of whatever it was that you'd been doing in that lesson at any given time. In this case, it's saying export to the desktop at the top left. As well at the top left, you'll notice that there's a bubble that kind of links looks like a cloud link. If I press on that, it's going to show us not just what's on the original screen here, but a lot of things that we've stuck up to our own cloud. They may be lessons, so the stuff that you can see under there, we've put some lessons up to the cloud that you can access. You've also got some tutorials, which link down to pretty much, they are the same videos, in fact, as what you can see on the Tango Tasters website under the playlists, and the walkthrough. The walkthrough, as I've always said, has been my favourite way to learn how to use Tango because it effectively works like a video game. Downloading that will allow you to figure out how to use the bits and pieces of Tango in a way that suits you, at a time frame that suits you. So have a crack at looking at that maybe. By pressing that, would download it and it would import it to this section here. In fact, let's give it a go. So if I download it, it's going to say how quickly it's going to come in. Depending on how big the file is, the Tango Teach walkthrough lesson is quite large, it's going to take a number of seconds or otherwise to come in. it's going to bring it in as a download area. So it's going to have a Tango Cloud category in which it's got some lessons, and there's the walkthrough. Like we said, have a go, play with it. Hopefully you'll find some ways that suit you.